Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's regular meeting of the Woburn City Council of February 4th, 2025. Just a reminder to everyone, tonight's meeting is being recorded for broadcasts. Also, please silence your cell phones. If you can, please stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance with me.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we call the roll, Councilor Campbell will participate in this meeting under the City of Woburn's remote participation policy. She will be joining us by telephone for all votes by roll call. Please call the roll, Clerk Higgins.
Council Campbell.
Here.
Council Demers.
Present.
Council DeMambro.
Present.
Council Ferrullo.
Present.
Council Mercer Bruin.
Present.
Council Papalato.
Present.
Council Toro.
Present.
Council Viola.
Present.
President Dillon.
Present. Before we start,
I could,
Councilor
Mr.
Ferrullo.
Mr. President, a moment of personal privilege. Prior to starting tonight, I'd like to introduce 3 scouts that are pursuing their Eagle Scout badge. I just spent the last hour with them talking about the workings of the City Council, how it works. In the very back row, Sarah Bates, Riddick Embry, and Jamie Hawley are joined by their families. In an effort to get the citizenship and the community merit badge, they needed to spend some time with the City Council, so I spent the last hour with them downstairs. They'll be joining us for the meeting this evening, similar to the gentleman that joined us about a month ago when he got his Eagle Award.
Excellent. Thank you for joining us
Welcome.
tonight.
Welcome. Mr. President, I'll make a motion that we dispense with the reading of the previous meeting's journal and approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll, please.
Regarding the journal, Council Campbell.
Aye.
Council Demers.
Aye.
Council DeMambro.
Aye.
Council Ferrullo.
Aye.
Council Mercer Bruin.
Aye.
Council Papalato.
Aye.
Council Toro.
Aye.
Council Viola.
Aye.
President Dillon.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next item on the agenda we have is the order that the $300,000 be transferred from cemetery perpetual interest account to new equipment cemetery account for $200,000 and to burial sections account for
I'll
$100,000.
make a motion the matter be referred to the Committee on Finance.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll, please.
To send the matter to Committee on Finance, Council Campbell.
Aye.
Council Demers.
Aye.
Council DeMambro.
Aye.
Council Ferrullo.
Aye.
Council Mercer Bruin.
Aye.
Council Papalato.
Aye.
Council Toro.
Aye.
Council Viola.
Aye.
President Dillon.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Madam Clerk, I'll make a motion that we take both matters regarding Tesla charging stations collectively to set up for a public hearing.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll, please.
Motion and second to send 2 matters for Tesla at 425 Washington Street and 1 at 300 Mishram Road to a public hearing. Council Campbell.
Aye.
Council Demers.
Aye.
Council DeMambro.
Aye.
Council Ferrullo.
Aye.
Council Mercer Bruin.
Aye.
Council Papalato.
Aye.
Council Toro.
Aye.
Council Viola.
Aye.
President Dillon.
Aye.
Next item on the agenda we have is under public hearings, is Treetop LLC for a special permit under section 7.3 to raise a pre-existing non-conforming four-family dwelling and rebuild a new 4-story dwelling at 5 Bennett Street. An updated set of plans dated January 22nd, 2025 was received, as well as a communication dated February 3rd, 2025 was received from Jay Duran, the Superintendent of Public Works. Further, a communication dated February 4th, 2025 was received from Attorney Thomas Lawton.
Make a motion that the plans and communications be received, made part of the permanent record.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll, please.
To accept the communications and plans, Council Campbell.
Aye.
Council Demers.
Aye.
Council DeMambro.
Aye.
Council Ferrullo.
Aye.
Council Mercer Bruin.
Aye.
Council Papalato.
Aye.
Council Toro.
Aye.
Council Viola.
Aye.
President Dillon.
Aye. Attorney Giuliano, how are you tonight?
Very well, Mr. President, thank you. For the record, Attorney James Giuliano, Giuliano Law Group, 607 Main Street here in Woburn, on behalf of the applicant, Treetop Home LLC. With me here tonight is the manager of the LLC, Sid Gayhart. We have the architect, Yale Gertz, and Eric Brandonisi, who is our engineer, so they will speak briefly and certainly answer any questions that the council does have relating to this project. Just to recap a little bit, we were here a few months ago, but we are seeking a special permit under Section 7.3 of the ordinance to raise the existing four-family dwelling located at 5 Bennett Street and construct a new four-family residential dwelling. I will sort of briefly go over the project again, what's there, what's being proposed. I don't want to take too much of your time, but I will be brief on that. And then certainly address the department comments, and I'm sure there'll be some discussion afterwards. But if you recall, the existing property is a four-family that sits on the property. It was built circa 1910. It's located in the R2 zoning district, contains about 7,200 square feet with 70 feet of frontage. Essentially, everything about it is non-conforming. We have the setbacks all around, rear, front, sides, lot area, everything is pretty much non-conforming with this. The exact analysis I can direct you to sheet E100 if you want the particulars as far as the exact dimensions. I won't go over that, but I certainly answer any questions, but the exact dimensions are on sheet E100. All the units are three-bedroom units. The building footprint is 2,359 square feet with the gross square living area of 6,932 square feet. If you've been by the property, you'll see that it holds conservatively about 7 spots, and that includes the front lawn that is being utilized for 2 parking spots. So it really should, hold about 4 or 5 spots at its current state. So all the spots, as it sits, are non-conforming. They're right against the lot lines. The driveway widths are just not adequate, so everything about the parking is also non-conforming. What we're proposing to do with the revised plans, as you can see, is it will remain a 4-family residential dwelling. Each of the units will contain 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. We are reducing the footprint, as you could probably see, to 2,063 square feet, so that's about 300 square feet smaller than what's there now, roughly about 12 to 13% of the footprint. The gross square footage will also drop to 5,764 square feet, which is a little bit over 1,100 square feet smaller than the existing square footage of the property. We're actually increasing and alleviating some of those setbacks. So again, I'll direct you to sheet A101 for the particulars, but we're basically alleviating most of those setbacks. We're creating the building further away from the rear, a little bit from the front, but essentially the same for the front, and especially the sides. So we're alleviating a lot of those by shrinking that building. Our open space is what it is. Obviously, the little grass area that's there, in front will remain, but everything out back will be slated for parking. So we are going to be adequate on parking. We're supplying 8 parking spaces, as you can see from the plan. The way we're doing that, in case you're wondering, the back of the lot slopes a little bit, so there's a little bit of a slope with the grading. We are going to chip away the back to create 6 spots in the rear and 2 spots on the side. Obviously, they will be close to the lot line in the rear lot line, and on the side, on the left-hand side. But we are creating 8 parking spaces where there are not 8 at this current point. All the parking spaces, again, all 8 stalls will be 9 by 18 pursuant to the ordinance. As you can see, again, there'll be tandem in the back and tandem on the side. I mentioned the grading in the back, how we're going to get there. Again, so now regarding the comments, I know we had some comments with DPW and engineering with regards to drainage and so on. So I just want to address those. If you look under your ordinance, under 13.4.7 specifically, the stormwater management comes into play when there's 20,000 square feet of disturbance. Our lot is only 7,000 square feet to play. So that's all we have. So we are under the requirement of requiring stormwater management on site. I think that was reiterated in Mr. Corey's and Mr. Ream's letter that was supplied. So I think he said specifically it's a residential, but more specifically it's under the requirement. So it's not required. That being said, we are acknowledging there has been issues in the past on Bennett Street. I think everybody has. I had my office there for 10 plus years, and on heavy rains it does flood. That being said, we are going to put all parking spaces and all pavement will be pervious pavement. So what that means is that instead of the water sheeting off of the pavement and going wherever, it's going to infiltrate to the ground. So that'll reduce at least minimally, but it'll reduce what is being thrown onto Bennett Street. So you take, 4,000 or 5,000 square feet of what is impervious pavement, you put it pervious. I think it's not going to solve the problem, but it'll certainly alleviate a lot of it. So my client was willing to do that. Again, I am cognizant of Mr. Duran's comments. Again, I would just revert back to what I just said, but regarding the water connection and it's adequate, I mean, again, I am in front of the council today for a special permit under section 7.3. I think those are issues that we would certainly address in the building permit process, but I don't think that's within the jurisdiction of the council to figure out what we're putting for water connections, what type of pipes we're using, and things like that. I think hopefully the council agrees with that. But, obviously when we do apply, we'll upgrade the system or do whatever is necessary to make Mr. Duran happy. But again, for the purposes of this permit, I think we just leave it at where we are. So, that being said, certainly we have our engineer here, we have our architect here. I was going to sort of go over the plans on the projector. I will certainly if it's necessary, but in the interest of time and taking courtesy of the council, we can certainly do that only if requested. But certainly have any questions that anyone has at this time.
Any questions?
Thank
Yes,
you,
Councilor
President Dillon.
Boone.
I just wanted to make a comment. First of all, yay, you brought some plans. I'm not sure I love them yet, but I'm glad that there's something here for the neighbors to give us some feedback on. The pervious pavement, that use of pervious pavement is certainly expensive, but will it solve that problem? I don't know, and maybe it might have to be more, because water, once it's a problem, it never stops being a problem, right? You understand that, attorney. So those are my only comments for now, but I'm curious to hear from the neighbors what they think of these plans. So thank you, President Dillon.
You're welcome. Yes, Councilor Demers.
Thank you, Mr. President. Attorney Giuliano, I'm optimistic now that we have plans in front of us. I think, many of the concerns from previous proposals that were brought up by, neighboring abutters seem to have been addressed in terms of the style, the amount of units proposed, more on-site parking. Looking at the proposed footprint, I guess what I'm trying to get at is in a residential development that was already a non-conforming use, it's been there. Do we know what's the cause of the existing drainage issues? It can't just be one property where all this water's coming from. So I would only caution my colleagues that, we can't be looking for a fix to some issues that we have with drainage everywhere, every time a project comes along, because my fear is that we scare away a cleanup of a site like this that looks like it's gonna respect the character of the neighborhood and the city. So it's a concern I have, because we can't be hounding every proposal for state-of-the-art drainage systems when it might not be that site that's causing the underlying issue. So do you have any background on the underlying issue itself?
It's a good question. The exact answers we don't know. I can tell you based on my history there, and Ms. Pinkham's here and she's been there longer, but you're talking Court Street, you're talking hills that really dump into the bottom of this bowl in that area. I have seen those catch basins, they are cleaned out occasionally, so I don't think that's the issue. The infrastructure on Bennett Street, I think, is probably antiquated. You have, newer systems with sumps, you have newer systems with hoods, not to bore you to death, but when you don't have, I don't believe those have sumps, okay? So, again, go back to my conservation days. When you have a sump, it basically collects all of that sand, all of that dirt, all of that debris, and it holds it, okay? If you don't have sumps, basically all that stuff just gets jammed in there, and then obviously you're cleaning it out more frequently than you would if it was a sump. So, it's probably taxed based on that. Again, this isn't going to alleviate the whole problem with Bennett Street. It'll certainly make it better. I think that can be said. And again, I would just reiterate what you said, Councilor Demers. We can't ask petitioners, and I wouldn't request that we ask petitioners to mitigate the whole system in that area with one petition. You know, I'm fair, and I think it is okay for petitioners to give it a try like we have here, but I think to try to mitigate a system with one development is unreasonable, like you
And
mentioned,
I'm
so.
interested in hearing more from DPW Superintendent Duran, but like my colleague, Councilor Mercer Bruin, I'm looking forward to hear what the residents have to say when we open the public hearing up.
Yeah, and if I may too, just under the ordinance, again, for whatever it's worth, specifically in section 13 of the ordinance relating to stormwater management infiltration, it does give the jurisdiction to the city engineer, okay? For what it's worth, you know, just to throw it out there, and again, the reason why I mention is because we have department comments from Mr. Corey that references this directly, who has the jurisdiction, so we'll try, and again, it's something, but I don't want to have to mitigate the system, you know, and create something that's, puts a huge onus on my client to fix the whole problem, but I think the counselor gets that, so I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Councilor Papalato.
Thank you, President Dillon. You've come a long way on this property. I know you've done a lot of concessions, and you made it smaller, and you've done a lot of things to make it palatable. But I think until Mr. Superintendent Duran's concerns can be addressed, I think we need to hear from him, and we need to get some feedback on some of these issues. You've talked to some of them, but I think we need to get him more involved in this, give him an opportunity to look at it, review it, and come back with his position on it. Thank you.
Anyone else? Councilor DeMambro.
Attorney Giuliano, I like what I see on the renderings, the parking, the impervious, the pervious, I should say, parking area. But I would like a little bit more information on the area itself. I mean, you know, flooding just doesn't occur on one property, you know. If there's parking lots, which there is, there's also, you know, an elevation. The rear of that property goes up probably a good 50, 60, 70 feet. There's also a street that's, you know, adjacent or close to it by which the rain will, you know, traverse downhill. There's a parking lot across the street. There's a lot of variables down there that contribute to the rain collection and the stormwater that's down there. So to say it's just, you know, the problem of one, and that one to fix the whole is a little much. So I would like to see some more information on the area that contributes to all of that. Because I see the catch basins. As a matter of fact, there's a catch basin right in front of 5. I'd also like to see, you know, when were those lines cambered? When were they vacked? Well, you know, are they properly being maintained? Is there any sediment or any issues that's contributing to the size of the pipe and what it will take and collect? And if there's any type of sediment that's in there that's occupying the space of those pipes that needs to be cleaned out so it can have its full, you know, the chamber can hold the full amount of what it's there for. That's something, too, I would like you to take and look into, because odds are, if that pipe chamber is, you know, a third of the way full of sediment and it's not flowing because of pitch or sediment or whatever, you're not going to get the full capacity. So those are things I would like to see and maybe discuss either in committee or back here in the council. Thank you.
Yeah, and it's a good point. So, you know, we'll go to committee, obviously, we'll discuss it more, but just to be clear, we will certainly get, I'm sure I can get records from DPW as far as cleaning cycles and things like that. We can have our engineer look at it a little bit, but you're not looking for a full drainage study of the area, just sort of like some good faith. What's really the problem, I think, is what you're asking, correct?
Pretty much.
Okay.
I mean, all the common sense stuff that needs to be really looked at and
Yep.
pulled into, you know, as a whole. Because there, like I said, I believe there's several different variables down there that it's probably gone on for far too long that's contributing to that. So I think if you analyze the whole area and you get some sort of, you know, information gathered together, we'll see if, you know, something else can be, you know, can help that area out. Thank you.
Anyone else? Attorney Giuliano, you're good until after we call a public? You're good for now?
Yep, I am good for now, Mr. President.
Thank you. Is there a motion to open the public?
Make a motion to open the public hearing?
Second.
A motion and a second. Vote, please.
To open the public hearing, Counsel Campbell.
Aye.
Counsel Counsel Demers.
Aye.
Counsel DeMambro.
Aye.
Counsel Ferrullo.
Aye.
Counsel Mercer Bruin.
Aye.
Counsel Papalato.
Aye.
Counsel Toro.
Aye.
Counsel Viola.
Aye.
President Dillon.
Aye. Is there anyone here that would like to speak in this matter? Please step forward. Come step right forward, sir. Speak into the microphone. Just state your name and address, please. How are you tonight?
Oh, fine. Yourselves?
Very good, thank you.
So I'm Adam Carignan, owner of 6 Court Street and 11 Court Street. The entire back line of 5-7 is on my property line, plus 9, I guess it would be. I saw the recent plans. I like the mansard roof. It's a better look for the area. Cool. There's nothing about a retaining wall, because that's my backyard. I've planted some cherry trees back there, black cherry, and they're gonna take up some water. I don't see any trees on their plans, which would suck up a lot of water. And we bought in an R2 neighborhood. And I know it's a little NIMBY, not in my backyard, but we're all beholden to R2 rules, right? When I was a kid, I grew up in Cape Ann. I'm a carpetbagger, sorry. Been here since 2010. But I used to drive from my family's house in Essex via Concord Street to Wingersheek Beach, where I was a lifeguard during the summers. And when I would take a left onto Atlantic Ave, there was no stop sign there. And now there's a stop sign. If I run that stop sign, I'm getting ticketed, right? Just because that's not how it always was. That's, you know, we can't keep doing that. I get setbacks, grandfathering setbacks, because the lot sizes are new and these houses are old. My house is literally 2 feet from the sidewalk. I get the setbacks. But I also have a client at 52 Pleasant, on the corner of Court and Pleasant, that they're zoned S1. They have 2 residential and 1 commercial. They would love to be a 3-family. Now, when I talk to Tom Quinn, he's like, nope, it's not, you can't do it. It's S1. It's not available as an option to you. And my client said, all right, I guess I'll do what I have. All right, so what's special? Why do we not get to do, and hey, if I could, on my 0.26 acres, the largest lot on the block, build a 4-family with parking and still have all the drainage and have a backyard for kids and all that, whatever, I might do it. I might cash out. But we live in an R2 neighborhood. That's how it's zoned. If you want to, change the zoning of the neighborhood, yeah, fight that fight. Otherwise, build a 2-family, or at least reduce it to a 3-family. I have 11 Court Street. We're looking at the HUD fair market value on that for a 4-bedroom, single-family rental, $4,500 a month. All right, $9,000 a month to live on Bennett Street for 2 units. How greedy you got to be? It's enough. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak in this matter? Please step forward. How are you tonight, Chris?
Hi, for the record, Christopher Sylvia, 13 Bennett Street. I've had an opportunity to review the plans, and I think we're making a little bit of progress, but we've still got some concerns about this. One thing I did want to ask Clerk Higgins was, under Section 7.3, there is a 2/3 vote required when we get to an ultimate vote. Is that correct?
I don't look it up.
You don't have it in front of you?
I don't have
Yeah.
the top of my head,
All
sorry.
right, yeah, that was just something I noticed.
But most special permits.
Permits are 2/3, okay.
Yes.
Yep. All right, so, when we're asking a body to make a special permit determination, I think it is important to consider things like stormwater, and, I definitely want to refer it to the city engineer, but, or the authority that has it, but, permeable pavement is something, but, it's not, it's certainly represents a departure from the current conditions, and I don't think it obeys the do no harm principle, even though if it's a little bit, in the right direction. When you have a non-conforming use, the theory really should be that I think across all of the various metrics, we should be trying to do no harm when possible. And so that's one factor to consider. There will be a substantial amount of noise and disruption to traffic during construction if this proposal does move forward. And if we do get to that point, I really would like the city council to put some restrictions onto that, particularly because Bennett Street is a one-way street. So if that road is blocked, we're going to have to figure something out, particularly for the properties that exit onto Pleasant Street, because there's no real other way unless we're going to reverse the road direction. As for the character and visual effects of this design, I understand that there is, taste is a matter of, subjectivity, but character and visual effects, that language is in section 7.3. But I believe that the existing neighborhood is a neighborhood of colonial, specifically Greek revival homes, and I do not think that the rendering as presented adequately keeps that building in the character of what's there. I would say as a good reference for what the building character should be is the existing building, which is what I would like to remain in place. One final factor here as far as the character of the neighborhood, I'm not sure if this is always brought up when we're talking about neighborhood character, but Bennett Street is an affordable neighborhood. I'm not sure everybody, including the petitioner, sees the value in old homes like 57 Bennett Street. But they do have value. They are naturally occurring affordable housing. We talk a lot about affordable housing for new projects, but there is affordable housing all around us. It is homes that are a little older and that people can rent for a little bit less than a new home, but those people are valuable members of our community, and I'm not sure if we'd like to have a community where every little bit of housing is luxury. And this proposal does not contain any concession to that whatsoever, as far as I know. This proposal, if there was a larger, project, then maybe we would be providing more housing than is there, and there could be a benefit to that. But essentially, the way I see that, we're taking the same building, knocking it down, and building a different one in the same place. And I just don't see that as being worth the disruption. So I would have to ask the city council not to approve this. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak in this matter? Please step forward. How are you tonight?
I'm very well, thank you. How are yourself?
Very good, thanks.
All right, good evening to the members of the City Council. My name is Margaret Pinkham. I'm a principal in an entity called MM5 LLC, which is the owner of 42 Pleasant Street, which is situated at the corner of Bennett Street and Pleasant Street. I want to hearken back to my first outreach to the council when this proposal was first before you back in 2023. I sent a multi-page, obnoxiously long, single-spaced letter, and I went back to refresh my memory for this evening, and you know what? There are some things that are worth repeating that I said in September of 2023. There is a legal standard that governs the issuance of a special permit, and this council has to make an express finding that the proposed alteration is not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing property. And I would submit that the council can't do that even on the basis of the current plans, which I admit are an improvement over the plans that were first submitted in the summer of 2023. You may recall that those first set of plans were for 4 bedrooms in each unit and 4 full bathrooms in each full unit. I think everyone agreed that that was an overuse of this undersized lot. And there was a second set of plans that were produced in the summer of 2024. Each unit went from 4 bedrooms to 3 bedrooms. So the plan then was much as it is now, 3 bedrooms per unit, and 4 full bathrooms per unit. I think Attorney Giuliano misspoke earlier. He said there were 3 full bathrooms per unit. Count them all up. It's 4 full bathrooms per unit. So the current proposal is still a plan that identifies 3 bedrooms and 4 full bathrooms in each unit. When I appeared before you back in August, I said, when they changed the plan from a year earlier, all they did was take off the word bedroom in the basement unit, and they called it a family room instead. And I said, come on, people, are we really that gullible that we don't know what's going to happen in the basement? And now the basement says unfinished basement. But they have egress windows in the basement, and the only requirement to have an egress window under the building code, which, believe it or not, I actually researched this afternoon, is if it's livable space. So the plans present an inconsistency, on their face, right? If it's not going to be habitable space, you don't need to have egress windows in it. And even the plans they submitted last year didn't have egress windows in the basement, but now they do. So I still have significant concerns about what's going to happen in that basement. And the reality is that the city council really only has one opportunity to get this right for the neighborhood. Whatever the city council decides is going to govern what happens on that street for the next 50, 100 years. And I really hope you get it right. The 4-family structure that is on that lot, according to the only documentation that I could find, which was the listing for the property back in 2006, described the property as 4 units, each had 3 rooms and 2 bedrooms, except for the illegal 5th unit that's referenced in the property listing. That was a 1-bedroom unit. So back in 2006, when this property was being marketed, its owner said it had 9 bedrooms and 5 bathrooms. Now, the owner wants to put in 12 bedrooms and 16 full bathrooms. That's too much. When we were here, back in the summer, one of the other neighbors said, listen, if they want to knock it down and build 4 2-bedroom apartments, have at it. They should be able to do that. I wouldn't disagree with that. But I don't think that the property should have its use intensified and exacerbated, particularly when our code requires that any apartment building that's got more than 3 units needs to have services for trash removal. There's nothing on this plan about where's the dumpster gonna go. I mean, the reality is they were able to squeeze 8 parking spaces on the lot, and I tip my hat to them. It's definitely an improvement. But I really don't believe that people who live there are gonna park their cars behind the house in tandem spots, because who really wants to get blocked in? And who's gonna wanna deal with unloading their car if there are all those cars crammed in behind it? I just don't think it's realistic that tenants, or residents are going to park their cars in the back. And that's an issue that's been discussed many times. I appreciate the improvements that the property owner is trying to make to the flooding. Superintendent Duran is very familiar with my phone calls about, you got to get over here, they got to pump these out, you got to inspect it, I want a camera through here, is there a breach in this line, is there a break, what's going on, why does the street keep flooding? My understanding is, hey, guess what? You know, these systems were designed 100 years ago for back then, 100-year storms that we get every 5 years now. So the drainage system can't handle the water. My property has flooded multiple times, my neighbor's property have flooded multiple times, you know. And I agree, this property owner is not responsible for the drainage issues, but it certainly shouldn't be put in a position to make it any worse. So I appreciate the time and attention, and I think we have a ways to go to get to a spot where the proposal is not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than what's there. I would love it if the property owner would fix up what they have. But of course, it's their right to seek to build a new four-family, but it should be a two-bedroom four-family, because that's all that's there now. So I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak in this matter? Please step forward. How are you tonight?
Good, how are you?
Very good,
Couldn't
thank you.
decide which one. I'm Sasha Hernandez, 13 Bennett Street. First thing I did want to say is, I will say the garbage problem has improved since the last hearing. So I do want to thank the petitioners for fixing the garbage problem. But I think the problem we keep on sort of circling around is just that, I mean, this is a four-family in a neighborhood that has very small lots, and it's extremely non-conforming. And I just don't know if there's a way to fit a modern conforming four-family on this small lot without basically paving the entire lot and putting a parking lot in. I do think the mansard roof's a little bit better, but in general, I think turning a backyard into a parking lot and putting a large retaining wall there is just not in the character of the neighborhood, in as much as I think the neighborhood has a good character. I like to think that, at least. So I guess I'd prefer to see the current building stay or just renovate the current building. I remember a few months ago there was a petition for there's a petition for 100 Main Street, which is a similar, extremely non-conforming property that is in similar, I think, condition, which is to say not great. But the proposal which Attorney Giuliano brought was just to renovate it, keep the current footprint, and fix it up. And I think that makes more sense in this case, because it's hard to imagine squeezing a building onto that small of a lot other than what's currently there, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Sorry, I've not been the most concise in my statements, but generally, I think they're going to squeeze a lot of units onto this lot, and the flooding will still be there. People will probably park on the street, which is fine for me, but I know it will affect other neighbors. And I'm also concerned about the adjacent building, 3 Bennett Street, because as far as I know, the person who owns 3 Bennett Street does not know that this project's happening. I tried to reach out to them. I don't know who they are or how to reach out to them. But they bought the property since this petition was brought forward, and we've not had a new issuance to the abutters, a notice of public hearing. So, I don't know if the neighbor next door knows. I don't think they've moved in yet. I've seen lights on when I've walked by, but I haven't managed to meet the person who bought it. But they bought it in late December. And I think our last public hearing where there was actually an issuance to the abutters was, I think, probably like October or November. So I'm generally just concerned about how they're going to feel about this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak in this matter? Seeing no one.
Make a motion that the public hearing be continued to the regular meeting of the city council on February 18th.
Second and on the motion.
Yes.
I just wanted to make a quick comment, because I'm a little surprised, because we've been hearing for the last, I don't know, year and a half or year, that there's been ongoing meetings with the neighbors, yet all the neighbors who've been continuously coming out are saying opposite, right? That these plans aren't ready yet. So I'm just a little confused about that. I'm not surprised to hear that somebody didn't get notified, because this has been going on so long. We keep continuing the permit, so obviously some people got left out of the process.
I also have concerns about rewarding someone who hasn't always been such a great neighbor to the neighborhood. So at the end of the day, I hope Attorney Giuliano, you'll go back to the drawing board for these neighbors. And I do appreciate, we want to clean up a piece of property, but I've always taken issue with people who own property who come to us and say, I know it's a mess. I know I've been a terrible landlord and it's a nuisance. But now if you let me clean it up and do bigger, badder, better, I'll be better. So I take issue with that. I always have. And I'm just disappointed that we're still hearing from the neighbors that we're not quite there yet. So having said that, I'm done. Thank you, President Dillon.
Yes. Attorney Giuliano.
Yeah, so, again, I will, Ms. Pinkham is actually, she called me out, that's why I like her, because she called me out. There is I forgot the third bedroom, there's four bathrooms. But, again, I just want to reiterate in what Ms. Pinkham did say. The standard is substantially more detrimental than what is there. Is the project we're proposing worse than what is there? Okay, so I think with committee meetings and the next meeting, we're going to show that this is clearly a better project in many ways. Going back to the stormwater, I want to preface it by saying that, you know, working off of the ordinances that were drafted years ago, again, reiterated by Mr. Corey's letter, it's not within the jurisdiction of DPW. Again, we're happy to capitulate in certain areas, you know, when the permitting process is there. And again, there might be stuff that we have to do. You know, there may be some corrosion in those pipes, and that's fine during the permitting process when we get the building permit. But again, under the ordinance, it is not within the jurisdiction of stormwater management, okay? As we have 7,000 square feet of disturbance, 20,000 triggers that. And then if it was triggered, it is under the city engineer. So again, I just want to be cautious that, you know, I don't want to, of course, don't drag things on as much as they have to, but if we're trying to placate somebody without jurisdiction, it could drag this thing on a lot longer if we're trying to make everybody happy, especially people that don't have jurisdiction over this matter. Relating to the basement, the livable area, I'll just say that, you know, obviously we did take the concerns of the neighbors into consideration when the basement was changed to unfinished. We are willing to make a condition that that will not be a basement, even though I don't think that, you know, falls within the regulations of the council to decide that, but we are willing to capitulate with that. I think that's fair enough. The reason why we have egress windows there is because if you notice, there's no bulkheads that are proposed. So if there is a livable space, a living room, what have you, and there's a fire, there's no way for that person to get out. I think that's fair and reasonable. Plus it adds additional lighting. So I just wanted to mention those, you know, in closing. We will certainly go to committee and discuss this further. We will have conditions if the council is looking to approve it, and then we will come back to the next public hearing and hopefully take a vote on the floor. So I want to thank you for your time again on this.
Thank you. Anyone else? Well, just from the chair, I do look forward to it going to committee. That way I can put my thoughts into the public as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
There is a motion on the floor.
And a second.
Motion and a second. Vote, please.
Motion second to continue public hearing until February 18th. Counsel Campbell.
Aye.
Counsel Demers.
Aye.
Counsel DeMambro.
Aye.
Counsel Ferrullo.
Aye.
Mercer Bruin.
Aye.
Counsel Papalato.
Aye.
Counsel Toro.
Aye.
Counsel Viola.
Aye.
President Dillon.
Aye.
Next item on the agenda we have is to determine whether the property located at 4 Maywood Terrace is a nuisance. Communication dated January 29th, 2025 was received from Thomas Quinn. Also, there's a communication dated February 2nd, 2025 was received from Danielle Thomas, 8 Maywood Terrace. And those are the communications.
Make a motion they be accepted as part of the permanent record?
Second.
Motion and a second. Vote, please.
Accept the communications. Counsel Campbell.
Aye.
Counsel Demers.
Aye.
Counsel DeMambro.
Aye.
Counsel Ferrullo.
Aye.
Counsel Mercer Bruin.
Aye.
Counsel Papalato.
Aye.
Counsel Toro.
Aye.
Counsel Viola.
Aye.
President Dillon.
Aye.
It is Council Mercer Bruin's petition.
You have the floor.
Oh, thank you,
Councilor
President Dillon. So this matter came before us back in November for a variety of complaints from the neighborhood that stemmed around structural complaints, trash, public nuisance in terms of the kinds of rodent behavior from the trash, an unregistered vehicle. There were quite a few structural issues. There were also a long list of drain on our city resources with our police and our fire over a course of several years. Everybody has heard about all of that. When we last met, there were several things that the property owner was required to do. And it took quite a bit of time for the commissioner to get written permission to go on the property. But I want to make sure I'm framing this correctly. We are here tonight because there's a piece of property that we are considering to be a nuisance for structural and some other things. The person or people responsible for that property is the owner. That is the person that we should be dealing with. The owner of the property is responsible for everything that happens on that property. I truly hope that she is here this evening to address some of the things from Commissioner Quinn that he needed addressed. I know the public is here to talk about some things as well, but I would like to start with that, to see if the owner of the property is here to talk about the things that were outlined in Commissioner Quinn's last memo dated January 29th, 2025. There were 3 items that needed to be addressed. I believe there was an inspection. I do have another memo from Commissioner Quinn on that, but at this point in time, President Dillon, I'd like to ask that we hear from the owner of this property.
That's a form of a motion.
It is, sir.
Second. No need for a motion.
Oh, yeah,
We're
we
gonna
don't.
open it
It's-
to the
The hearing's
public.
open, yeah.
Okay.
The hearing's not open, but you can ask the petitioner just
Yeah.
to step up.
Then that's,
Okay.
thank you, that's all I'd like to
Good.
do, is have the owner of the property.
Is the owner of the, thank you very much. Please step forward, state your name and address, please.
Debbie McLaughlin, 23 Faith Street, Wilmington, Mass.
Thank you. Councilor Bowen?
Thank you. Thank you, Deborah, for coming this evening. So you're aware there of Commissioner Quinn's memo dated January 29th. There were 3 items that needed to be addressed.
Yes.
One was the unregistered vehicle. The second was the rear deck stairs that were missing, and there was a grade problem. And the third was the exterior grounds with the trash. And then I did receive a communication from Commissioner Quinn at 3:20 this afternoon and I'll read it. On behalf of the above, I've received pictures from the owner that showed the rear stairs have been installed from the deck to grade in the rear of the dwelling. Additionally, a site visit was done this morning at 10:45. Trash barrels were secure and no evidence of trash on the ground. The vehicle in the driveway, the Cadillac SUV, was in the same location as it was last week and still appeared to be unregistered. If the owner of the property does appear at the city council meeting tonight and can provide proof that the vehicle is registered, I would ask that you forward a copy to me. If the owner cannot provide such proof that it is registered as requested, zoning enforcement action will be taken with fines issued in the amount of $300 per day until the violation has been resolved.
The owner of the vehicle is getting rid of the vehicle.
Okay, so you understand if it's
Yes.
still there tomorrow, you'll start incurring fines of $300 per day. Okay. I don't have any more questions, but I'd like to hear from the public. President Dillon?
Thank you.
Make a motion to open the public hearing?
Second.
A motion and a second to open the public hearing. By roll.
To open the public hearing, Council Campbell.
Aye.
Council Mercer Bruin. Excuse me, I completely jumped. Council Campbell, Council Demers.
Aye.
Council DeMambro.
Aye.
Council Ferrullo.
Aye.
Council Mercer Bruin.
Aye.
Council Papalato.
Aye.
Council Toro.
Aye.
Council Viola.
Aye.
President Dillon.
Aye. Is there anyone here that would like to speak in this matter? Please step forward and state your name. How are you, sir?
Good, how are you doing?
Very
President
good,
Dillon?
thank you.
Ben Kordick, 36 Beach Street. Good evening. I stand before you again to address the issues that have been plagued our neighborhood for far too long. The ongoing neglect and mismanagement of 4 Maywood Terrace by the owner Deborah McLaughlin. Despite previous discussions, the city council meetings, and commitments from the landlord, the problems persist. While some initial improvements were made, admittedly the removal of trash, the abandoned pool, the mold, the efforts have not been sustained. Once again, trash is piling up, even though it might have been cleaned up today. I've sent pictures to you, Darlene, Councilor Bruin, seeing the trash is.
Yes.
You want me to pause?
Close that. We have.
I think they got it for you, Linz.
Thank you.
Good?
I'm so sorry. Thank you.
No, no worries. Once again, the trash is piling up. As to Councilor Bruin just alluded to, the abandoned car is on the lot, has not been addressed. And we can continue to have police have to respond to this property. The cycle repeats and our neighborhood suffers as the consequence. This isn't just about an inconvenience, it's about safety, quality of life, and the responsibility of the property ownership. The deteriorating conditions of 4 Maywood affect not just the lot, but the entire community. The property owner has failed to uphold their obligations. They've disregarded city ordinances and allowed standards to slip time and time again. Just last week, another incident underscores the issue. While I was working in my yard, changing the windshield wipers on one of my cars, my neighbor Sam and I observed a resident that came out of 4 Maywood who appeared to be visibly impaired. Shortly thereafter, this woman began approaching houses, attempting to engage with neighbors who had no prior interactions with her. The situation escalated until a police report was called, or the police were called, and a formal police report was filed, and I will urge the City Council to review that. This is not just a matter of opinion or neighborhood grievances, it's a documented public safety concern resulting from an ongoing property neglect. How many more complaints, police calls, and violations need to occur before action is taken? The city has the authority to enforce its own regulations, and it's time to do so. These fines, penalties, and consequences for continued noncompliance must be implemented. The property owner must be held to the same standard as every other landlord in Woburn. If they are unable or unwilling to manage the property appropriately, the city should explore revoking their ability to operate as a landlord, in my opinion. It's time for the City Council to act, and I appreciate everything you guys have done so far. Enforce the laws, issue fines, hold the landlord accountable. Thank you.
Thanks, Ben.
Thank you,
sir.
Ben.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak in this matter? Please step forward. How are you tonight? What's your
Susan
name and
Carpenter.
address, please?
Yes, and I live at 12 Maywood Terrace. I just want to let you people know that my heart goes out to Ben and Sam because they are the abutters. I have, I guess you could call it the luxury of being able to drive by the house to go down to mine. However, your first insight into the neighborhood, the first thing you see is 4 Maywood Terrace. And it's not always the prettiest of sights. So I just want to reinforce what, Ben just got up here and spoke about. I mean, it's just continues. There's just doesn't seem to be an end in sight. The other night I drove in, almost hit the dog that was just moseying around the street up there. I've seen him before. So, I mean, it's the little things. And I've lived beside a house for many years where the strained relationship with your next door neighbor, it's exhausting. And it just is all consuming, and it affects your mental state. It's so I mean, I commend those two people for staying in the neighborhood because it's it's a tough place to be right now. So just keep on it, keep considering what's going on, and make the landlord and responsible, and make the residents accountable for what goes on there. That's what I got.
Thank you.
Thank you, Susan.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak in this matter? Seeing no one.
So,
Councilor Bowen?
thank you, President Dillon. This has gone on since November. It's disappointing to me that we saw some improvement, and then here we are back to square one. So I'd like to hear from the property owner again. I think Councilor Toro and Councilor DeMambro said it best during the last hearing. When you are an owner of the property, you need to be present and accounted for. You need to know what's going on your property. But it doesn't seem that you're aware. The trash that was piled up again after we said, make sure it's in receptacles. Some of these other complaints, I would just like to hear from you, Ms. McLaughlin, about that.
She's in the process of packing, so she may have extra trash at this time. She's going to be moving by the end of March.
Okay, but that didn't answer my question. My question was about you as the landlord and knowing what's going on in your property. So at the end of the day, as far as I'm concerned, if the car is not removed by tomorrow, obviously Inspector Quinn will start those fines.
Yes.
And when we meet back here in the next meeting in February, if all of these things haven't been resolved, I mean all of them,
Yep.
the city council will I will ask the city council, and I hope you will consider it, to declare this piece of property in which you own
Yes.
as a public nuisance. And I don't know what else to say to that. I think we've been extremely patient up until this point.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, councilors.
Very well. Anyone else?
I'll make a motion that the public hearing is still open, yes, President Dillon?
Yes.
I'll make a motion that the public hearing be continued to February. I think we meet again on the 18th.
Second. The motion and a second. Roll, please.
Last and final time.
To continue the matter to February 18th, Counselor Campbell.
Aye.
Counselor Demers.
Aye.
Counselor DeMambro.
Aye.
Counselor Ferrullo.
Aye.
Counselor Mercer Bruin.
Aye.
Counselor Papalato.
Aye.
Counselor Toro.
Aye.
Counselor Viola.
Aye.
President Dillon.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is President Dillon, per request of the mayor, for a proposed zoning amendment, section 5.1, subsection 79, to allow municipal uses to be permitted as a right in all zoning districts. A committee report from the Committee on Ordinance, Charters, and Rules was received, ought not to pass.
Mayor Concanon, how are you tonight?
Well, Mr. President, to you.
Very good, thank you.
Excuse me, to you and members of the council. Thank you for the chance to be heard tonight. I will not rehash everything we've been talking about for a while now. I respect your time too much to do that. I think we've had a robust discussion and debate about this topic, and I appreciate the sentiment in the room the other night, in the committee room, when the committee voted ought not to pass. As I said throughout the process, I respect that, respect the role of the council in this process. Again, I won't rehash everything, but let me just say briefly that the intent of the petition before you was to try to streamline the process of building a couple of municipal uses. The impetus came from the building committees for the fire station and the use committee for 6 Common Street next door, trying to find ways to make sure that we stayed on time, on budget, to get those projects done as quickly as we could. That was the impetus. The intent was purely to move things along. There was never an intent to squash voices or restrict people's ability to be heard. We can reasonably disagree as to whether that might have been the impact of the petition in front of you, but it certainly was not the intent. But again, I think after the presentation in the committee room where we were able to lay out all of the details of the proposal, potential implications, I think the council has all the information they need to make a decision. Again, I respect the mood in the room, and the vote ought not to pass. I won't take up any more of your time belaboring this point. Just wanted to reiterate why it was in front of you, what the goal was, and that I certainly respect and appreciate the position of the council. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mayor Concanon.
Thank you, Mayor.
Make a motion to open the public hearing?
Second.
A motion and a second. Roll, please.
To open the public hearing, Counselor Campbell.
Aye.
Counselor Demers.
Aye.
Counselor DeMambro.
Aye.
Counselor Ferrullo.
Aye.
Counselor Mercer Bruin.
Aye.
Counselor Papalato.
Aye.
Counselor Toro.
Aye.
Counselor Viola.
Aye.
President Dillon.
Aye. Is there anyone here who would like to speak on this matter? Please step forward. Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Christopher Sylvia, 13 Bennett Street. When this came up earlier, I said, I think there are some municipal uses, but not others, that I think it's reasonable to allow as of right. And that was when we were asking sort of for the whole ballgame for everything. And, it seems like the way things are going is perhaps that there might be no municipal uses allowed as of right. And I'm not sure if that's correct either. I think that for the case of 6 Common Street, it's at least seems obvious to me that using that as a city hall annex is something that we should allow. And I'm not sure if we should change the underlying zoning or just simply allow that as of right. But, there's uses that are detrimental. There's uses that are not disruptive, something like an office or that sort of thing in this sort of an area. And, then there's uses where, they might be a little detrimental, but we do all depend on them. Something like fire stations. Would I love to have a fire station next to my house? No, I would not. But also, would I like the fire department to come if my house catches on fire? Yes, I would. I just wanted to see if there was any room to consider some uses, but not others, and if like, for example, administrative uses or fire uses or that sort of thing. That's all.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else who would like to speak on this matter? Please step forward.
Make a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll, please.
To close the public hearing, Counselor Campbell.
Aye.
Counselor Demers.
Aye.
Counselor DeMambro.
Aye.
Counselor Ferrullo.
Aye.
Counselor Mercer Bruin.
Aye.
Counselor Papalato.
Aye.
Counselor Toro.
Aye.
Counselor Viola.
Aye.
President Dillon.
Aye.
Make a motion that the order is rejected?
Second.
Second.
A motion and a second. Roll, please.
You said that the matter is denied?
Yes.
So an aye vote will,
What was the motion?
I was just asking, sorry. I was just confirming. It's motion to deny.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
so to be clear, an aye vote will defeat the motion.
No, the aye vote would be for the motion, which would defeat the proposed zoning amendment.
Okay, so
So,
Correct.
that's what we want to straighten out, so,
let me reword that on our behalf.
thank you.
An aye vote will support the denial of the order.
That's what we're looking to make sure,
Okay.
that we have it all clear. Thank you.
So on the motion to deny, Counselor Campbell.
Aye.
Counselor Demers.
Aye.
Counselor DeMambro.
Aye.
Counselor Ferrullo.
Aye.
Counselor Mercer Bruin.
Aye.
Counselor Papalato.
Aye.
Counselor Toro.
Aye.
Counselor Viola.
Aye.
President Dillon.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next item on the agenda we have is the Madison Holdings LLC zoning proposal for Section 2 definition of mixed-use hotel, restaurant, as well as Section 6 and Section 6.1, the notes of the table of dimensional regulations for Woburn Landing. A committee report was received from the Committee on Ordinance, Charters, and Rules for Back for Action. Further, communication dated January 29th, 2025 was received from City Solicitor Mark Salvardi. And another communication dated February 4th, 2025 was received from Thomas C. Quinn, Jr., the building commissioner.
Make a motion that communications be received, made part of the permanent record.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll, please.
To receive the communications, Counselor Campbell.
Aye.
Counselor Demers.
Aye.
Counselor DeMambro.
Aye.
Counselor Ferrullo.
Aye.
Counselor Mercer Bruin.
Aye.
Counselor Papalato.
Aye.
Counselor Toro. Counselor Toro.
Aye.
Counselor Viola.
Aye.
President Dillon.
Aye. Attorney Tarby, how are you tonight?
Fine, thank you. For the record, Joseph Tabby, Reuben and Rudman, 500 Unicorn Park Drive in Woburn. As you know, last Monday, we met with the Ordinance Committee, and the committee voted to send the proposed zoning amendment out for action with, there were a couple of requests. One, there were requests for communications from the city solicitor and the building commissioner, which have been received, and the third, or the second or third request, depending how you look at it, was for clarification on a portion of the property shown on the plan. So what I'd like to do is address that. I have 10 copies of the
Make a motion to accept as part of the permanent record.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll, please.
What is this document again?
There was communication from the city solicitor,
No,
communication.
what do you have in
Oh,
front?
this is a
Plan?
copy of the conceptual A&R plan, and I'm going to address the question that was raised by Councilor Bruin at the committee meeting.
Motion and a second to accept the conceptual AR plan. Counselor Campbell.
Aye.
Counselor Demers.
Aye.
Counselor DeMambro.
Aye.
Counselor Ferrullo.
Aye.
Counselor Mercer Bruin.
Aye.
Counselor Papalato.
Aye.
Counselor Toro.
Aye.
Counselor Viola.
Aye.
President Dillon.
Aye.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so what you have before you is the conceptual A&R plan, and by conceptual A&R plan, we mean that if the zoning amendment is adopted, at some point, we would seek approval of an A&R plan that would show two lots. One, all of the restaurants on one lot, and two, the hotel on its separate lot. So up in the right-hand corner, at the last meeting, that appeared to be a separate lot. That was the question. In discussing this with Alan and Major, that section is actually part of the restaurant lot. As you go along the property line at Cummings, the property line is actually back 6 feet. So that note, part of Lot 1C, shows that that property is part of the so-called restaurant lot. It's connected to that in order to get up to the open space figure that's on the conceptual land use table. Now, in addition, at the committee, we talked about adding some language that reads as follows: the exception herein shall apply only to lot or lots in one of the above development sites in existence as of January 1, 2025. So that means Inwood, Unicorn, Woburn Landing, developed. Okay, so all three of those lots are developed as of January 1st. So that means if someone wanted to assemble parcels of land and make a request to the council to be added to this, their development would have already had to have been in existence as of January 1st of this year.
Questions?
Thank you, President Dillon. Thank you, Attorney Tarby, for answering my question about that standalone parcel. That was giving me a little bit of heartburn. I don't have any other questions about this. I'm ready to move on it with the condition, it's not a condition, but the amendment to the language that we discussed in committee, but obviously we need to open the public hearing and hear from the council.
Anyone else? Seeing no one.
Make a motion to open the public hearing?
Second.
Motion and a second to open the public hearing. Roll, please.
To open the public hearing, Counsel Campbell.
Aye.
Counsel Demers.
Aye.
Counsel DeMambro.
Aye.
Counsel Ferrullo.
Aye.
Counsel Mercer Bruin.
Aye.
Counsel Papalato.
Aye.
Counsel Toro.
Aye.
Counsel Viola.
Aye.
President Dillon.
Aye. Is there anyone here that would like to speak in this matter? Please step forward. Seeing no one.
Make a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
Motion and a second to close the public hearing. Roll, please.
To close the public hearing, Counsel Campbell.
Aye.
Counsel Demers.
Aye.
Counsel DeMambro.
Aye.
Counsel Ferrullo.
Aye.
Counsel Mercer Bruin.
Aye.
Counsel Papalato.
Aye.
Counsel Toro.
Aye.
Counsel Viola.
Aye.
President Dillon.
Aye. What is the will of the council?
I'll make a motion to amend footnote 6.1, table of use dimensional requirements to section 6, subsection 2 and 3 with the exemption language.
I don't have it written down. the exemption.
oh, I'm
Do you have
sorry.
it in writing? Thank you. I didn't have that.
It's the blue.
Sorry, Lindsay.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. Roll, please.
So,
So
There was a motion and a second.
if I may,
Yes, please. I'm sorry. That's,
what, on the motion?
Yes, Councilor
Would it
Demers.
make sense if we just approve the amended language as agreed to and adopt the order? in one motion?
I'm happy to withdraw the motion so we
I
can,
just have a
Yes, ma'am.
question. So is this the original proposal, or is this language that's been added?
That would be added.
So this just, I
The-
can't, I wasn't at the committee meeting, so I
Yep.
don't know what
the exemption language.
this part right here.
I can circle it.
I believe that was the proposal, and this is the ad.
Thank you.
That was
That's
agreed
what you
upon. Yep.
It's clarified, and I'll clarify it once you,
You're good?
yes, so the motion is to adopt,
A motion and a second.
The changes to the footnote as amended,
thank you,
and adopt the order.
yes. Okay, so the motion is to,
Same motion I made, right?
um,
Okay.
you just said it differently.
Yeah.
Adopt
And
the
to
as
adopt,
amended.
the as amended language,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Second.
And the
Section
amended
6.
language reads as follows.
Section 2 and
The exemption herein shall apply only to a lot or lots in one of the above development sites in existence as of January 1, 2025.
Yes.
Thank you. Counsel Campbell, do you understand that?
I do.
Okay. Roll call. Counsel Campbell.
Aye.
Counsel Demers.
Aye.
Counsel DeMambro.
Aye.
Counsel Ferrullo.
Aye.
Counsel Mercer Bruin.
Aye.
Counsel Papalato.
Aye.
Counsel Toro.
Aye.
Counsel Viola.
Aye.
President Dillon.
Aye. Thank you.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is under the Committee on Personnel Committee Report on the appointment of Susan Colaco to the Woburn Council on Aging, and committee report was received, ought to pass.
Make a motion, the committee report be adopted?
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll, please.
To adopt the appointment, Counsel Campbell.
Aye.
Counsel Demers.
Aye.
Counsel DeMambro.
Aye.
Counsel Ferrullo.
Aye.
Counsel Mercer Bruin.
Aye.
Counsel Papalato.
Aye.
Counsel Toro.
Aye.
Counsel Viola.
Aye.
President Dillon.
Aye.
On the reappointment of Cassandra Connolly to the Commission on Disability.
Same
the
action.
Committee report was received, ought to
Second.
pass.
Motion and a second. Roll, please.
Counsel Campbell.
Aye.
Counsel Demers.
Aye.
Counsel DeMambro.
Aye.
Counsel Ferrullo.
Aye.
Counsel Mercer Bruin.
Aye.
Counsel Papalato.
Aye.
Counsel Toro.
Aye.
Counsel Viola.
Aye.
President Dillon.
Aye.
On the reappointment of Eleanor Collins to the Woburn Council on Aging, a committee report was received, ought to pass.
Motion, the committee report be adopted?
Second.
Motion and,
Yep.
a motion and a second. Roll, please.
Counsel Campbell.
Aye.
Counsel Demers.
Aye.
Counsel DeMambro.
Aye.
Counsel Ferrulo.
Aye.
Counsel Mercer Bruin.
Aye.
Counsel Papalato.
Aye.
Counsel Toro.
Aye.
Counsel Viola.
Aye.
President Dillon.
Aye.
The next item on the agenda is under motion, orders, and resolutions, is to establish a municipal preliminary election on August 26, 2025.
Make a motion the order be adopted?
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll, please.
Counsel Campbell.
Aye.
Counsel Demers.
Aye.
Counsel DeMambro.
Aye.
Counsel Ferrulo.
Aye.
Counsel Mercer Bruin.
Aye.
Counsel Papalato.
Aye.
Counsel Toro.
Aye.
Counsel Viola.
Aye.
President Dillon.
Aye.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll, please.
To adjourn, Counsel Campbell.
Aye.
Counsel Demers.
Aye.
Counsel DeMambro.
Aye.
Counsel Ferrulo.
Aye.
Counsel Mercer Bruin.
Aye.
Counsel Papalato.
Aye.
Counsel Viola.
Aye.
President Dillon.
Aye. We are adjourned at 8:16.